Hello everybody and welcome back. Root Beer here looking at question number 6 on the 2006 Euclid contest. So hopefully you've given it a try. Let's take a look at it together. So just like the last question and the next question, we have a light bulb and a written part. So, A, suppose that for some angles x and y, sine squared x plus cos squared y is equal to 3/2 a. And cos squared x plus sine squared y is 1/2 a squared. Determine the possible values of a. Okay. So they've got it sort of lined up quite nicely. Sine squared and cos squared of the same angle, that always adds up to 1. That's the Pythagorean identity. So if we copy these two equations down, was it cos on top? No, sine. Sine squared x and cos squared x. And cos squared y, sine squared y. And that was 3/2 a, 1/2 a squared. If I add these up, sine squared x plus cos squared x is 1. Cos squared y plus sine squared y is 1. And then we get 3/2 a plus 1/2 a squared. I'm going to multiply by 2. So this guy over here is 2. So we'll get 4 is equal to 3a plus a squared. I'm going to rearrange that and say a squared plus 3a minus 4. Yeah, 2 times 2, is equal to 0. Okay, so our a values have to satisfy this relationship. Nice. So I think we can factor 4 and -1, yeah. So we can factor this out or use the quadratic formula, whatever you want. So this tells us a is going to be equal to 1 or -4. So these are our possible values, but that doesn't mean we actually get both of them. Okay? For example, we can eliminate -4 immediately, which makes me think the answer should be a, but a equals 1. But I'm still going to have to prove that in some way if I want full marks. I know it's a light bulb, so really just writing the final answer, which I'm pretty sure is a is 1, will do. But notice that sine squared x plus cos squared y is a sum of squares. Therefore, it's greater than or equal to 0. You will never get two squares adding up to a negative number, which is bigger than -12 over -6. So a can't be -4. Does that mean a equals 1 is the right answer? No, because it might be that it's too big. I mean, sine x and cos x are both less than or equal to 1. So if we had something like a is equal to 5, it would be too big. At most, 3/2 of a can be 2, and that's if you're lucky. So we do sort of have to check. Now, I don't think it's really going to be that strenuous, but if we actually want to show this works, we should find an x and a y. So we want sine squared was on top. So sine squared x plus cos squared y is equal to 3/2. And cos squared x and sine squared y is 1/2 a squared, so that's just 1/2. Okay. What are we to do here? So, while this certainly seems possible that I could find an x and a y, it's not guaranteed. But let's just try some of the obvious things. So 3/2 is bigger than 1, so how about we make, I don't know, sine x equal to 1. So let's try x is pi by 4. So this would be 1 squared plus cos squared y, and this would be 0 squared plus sine squared y. So both cos squared y and sine squared y have to be equal to 1/2. So cos y sine y is going to be 1 over root 2, or root 2 over 2 is the rationalized way of saying that. And that happens, we get the sine equal to cosine, sine is equal to cosine exactly 1 pi over 4, and that is the value you get for sine and cos. So this does work. So a equals 1 is the only possible value. That said, it's a light bulb. You don't actually have to do this. As long as you know it's a equals 1 is the only answer. Really, I'd say the point of this question is eliminate -4 as an answer. But we got to make sure. I want to make sure. Anyway, we've got a B part left as well, written question. And we're starting to think things like sine squared cosine, start thinking about the Pythagorean identities maybe. Just based off of our A part. Because usually the A and B are linked in some way. Alright, so B part. Oh, this is a wordy one. Survivors on a desert island find a piece of plywood, ABC, in the shape of an equilateral triangle with sides of length 2 meters. Okay. To shelter their goat from the... Who writes these? And this isn't I remember, I think it's the 2003, it has a goat in that one as well. I wonder if it's the same guy. It's interesting. I like that there's some flavor. It's not just, here's a 3-dimensional shape, figure out some stuff. We've got a story. We have a story. Okay. So to shelter their goat from the sun, they place edge BC on the ground, lift corner A, and put in a vertical post PA, which is h meters long above the ground. So we can see it's a right angle. Make a nice shade for their goat there. When the sun is directly overhead, the shaded region, PBC on the ground, so this shade here, under the plywood is an isosceles triangle with largest angle at P here equal to 120 degrees, which is a nice special angle. Determine the value of H to the nearest centimeter. So first, I'm grabbing my calculator because I'm going to have to be doing some nearest centimeter stuff. Second, I'm actually now really into the story and wondering, how did they get onto this desert? It says survivors. Survivors of what? And how did the goat survive, or did they find the goat on the island? Anyway, questions for another video, or the next time I'm interviewing people about math contest questions they create. But let's get to it. We'll draw, I think, a couple pictures. Because it's an equilateral triangle, I know AC and AB and BC are all 2. I suppose I can draw the picture here, but I'm just going to need to do more calculations on the next page. So this is what we've got here, and then okay, so we've got a bunch of right angles here. PA, this is H. H is what we want to solve for. Well, not even solve for. We want to sort of round H. Or we want to get it to the nearest centimeter, right? Since they gave us everything in meters, that'll be, so round it to 2 decimal places is basically what they're saying. All right. So we want to try and figure out H. Well, the things I can immediately see about H, we've got a triangle APC is right angled. So AC squared is equal to H squared plus PC squared. Okay. Other things to know, AC is equal to AB is equal to BC, which is equal to 2 meters. And we also know that PC is equal to PB because it's isosceles. So I know this one side is 4. 4 equals H squared. Can I figure out PC? Well, I know PC is equal to AB, and I know we've got a length of 2 here. So let's just look at the shadow, the shaded area. and draw a little sort of fluffy goat. Goats have horns, right? And whiskers, and I don't know. That looks like an ant. I should never draw again. Okay, so I will just take a look here. P, I guess we should write the C over here. So we have 2. Now we were also told we have 120 degrees here, and we want this length. I'm going to say let PC equal PB equal X. So I want to figure out what X is. I have a couple options. I could, since it's isosceles, I know that we get a right angle here when we drop an altitude, and that splits this in half. So that'll be 60 degrees is here and 30 degrees. And so I did not draw this as fat as it should be, because this is going to be 1 over root 3, and X is going to be 2 over root 3 from 30, 60, 90 triangles or some basic trig. Or, and I think this is probably the more straightforward way, because then I don't have to say things like, it's isosceles, drop an altitude, it splits the base in half. I don't have to explain any of that. I can just say by cosine law. I know that 2 squared is equal to x squared plus x squared minus 2xx cosine 120 degrees. So now that's 4 is equal to 2x squared minus 2x squared. Cosine of 120 is negative 1/2. So those will cancel out, and this will be 3x squared. So x squared is equal to 4 over 3. Now I could square root that, and I'll get 2 over root 3, but I actually don't need to, because 4 is equal to h squared plus pc squared, but pc squared is just x squared. So I would just need to square it again. No point in doing that. H squared is 4 minus 4 over 3, so that's 12 minus 4 over 3, so that's 8 over 3. And that tells me h is 8 is root 8 over, so that's 2 root 2 over 3 over root 3. Yeah, square root of top and bottom. I suppose we could rationalize the denominator, but they didn't actually ask us for exact form, so let's just bust out the calculator. Square root of 2 divided by square root of 3, and then the whole thing multiplied by 2. I'm getting about 1.6329, which I would round down to 1.63 meters, or 163 centimeters. Okay. So, I will say 1.6329 meters, 163 centimeters is my final answer. Okay. Now, if I didn't have my calculator, these numbers aren't so bad. One thing that you can try and remember is root 2 is about 1.414, root 3 is about 1.73, I think it's 29. I'm actually going to get my calculator and double check that. 320, my mistake. But knowing the numbers to their decimal expansions about 4 out, I know I only have about 3 digits here, you could conceivably try and do some sort of long division here to get this. So it wouldn't be a total waste if you didn't bring your calculator. You wouldn't just say, oh, I'm going to skip 6. You could get a fair amount of marks even if you just left it in exact form. But they did say they wanted it in centimeters, nearest centimeter. So we did everything in meters. We got to remember to convert. You wouldn't say 2 as your answer. You'd want 1.63 meters becomes 163 centimeters. But that does it for question number 6. So in the next video, we're going to take a look at question number 7. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.